Turn me up.
CB on the beat.
I forgot to mute my mic.
I said easy, big fella.
About social issues without the liberal lapdogs shutting down the discussion. Broadcasting from the American Truth Project Studios in beautiful Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. This is Conservative Nation with your host, JERMAIN BOTSIO.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of Conservative Nation with me, your gracious host, JERMAIN BOTSIO. And on today's show, you guys know what the deal is. It is Sunday Rumble! And I got the one, the only, liberal demon slayer, Anthony Allen. How are you doing, sir?
Fantastic. Like I always say, today is a great day to get and bash these liberals because they're popping up everywhere. You got clown Kamala Harris, you got Hillary Clinton, you got Mayorkas, you got Joe Biden, you got all kinds of clowns, and they're coming out fully dressed, clown makeup on. And you know what? We here at Conservative Nation, we do not take pity on these people because they are trying to destroy our country. And so therefore, whenever we hear President Trump giving a rally, he's using some very colorful words now because he's mad, because he wants us to know this is serious business. These Democrats, liberals, they need to be slayed because they are trying to destroy our country.
Absolutely. They're trying to destroy our country, and they don't like me. They don't like you. These people, a whole bunch of politicians, they have sold out. Yes. They have absolutely sold out. This quote-unquote Ukraine-Russia war, I'm seeing money flying out of this country by the boatloads, Anthony Allen.
Boatloads, yep.
Boatloads. And I don't...
$300 million just left.
I mean, every time you blink your eyes, the money is flying. So there's a problem that we have here. The politicians are using the art of compassion, false compassion, I should say, to reap and steal, let me tell you, wealth out of this nation. So, that is the biggest story of the century. Ladies and gentlemen, hit that like button. Make sure you share. We gonna get it in. It is Sunday Night Rumble. You know what it is. You know we don't play. You know we gonna tell you like it is. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, we gonna be flaming. So hit that like button. Make sure you do share. All right. We got a lot of folks who are waiting for tonight's show. There's some people who just watch only Sunday shows. Either it's because, they just like Anthony Allen, which is real nice, or, they only time they can get in to watch, either way, gosh darn it, share, hit that like button. All right. Absolutely. And if you can, help us out, ladies and gentlemen, help us continue to bring the news to you. All right. Throw something in the tip jar. Help us pay our bills. Help us keep streaming. All right. Absolutely. Brother, buddy, pal, I'm ready to rumble. What about yourself?
I am ready to start rock and rolling and rumbling, buddy. Let's go do it.
Absolutely. Let's rumble.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, hit that like button. First one up. I want to go ahead and speak to you guys about a viral TikTok video. Seems like TikTok is taking off. A whole bunch of stupidity, a whole bunch of people losing their jobs and lives. Let me tell you, ain't it fabulous? Crazy, I know. Well, I want to speak to you guys about this viral TikTok video. Deals with a young lady. All right, a young woman. She brags on social media that she got out of a DUI ticket because the cop found her attractive. I want you guys to take a look at this video. When it come back, I want to speak about this here. We have a whole bunch of women in this country who say that they want equal rights. They want to be treated equally. But then when consequences start coming down for the actions that they are doing, they want leniency and they want special privilege. I want you guys to take a look at this. When I come back, I want to speak about this. Make sure you share. Here we go.
I got out of a DUI and got let off with a warning. That officer deserves a raise. Ladies, I literally just said, I just got out of a really bad relationship and he's really toxic and he dumped me 2 weeks ago. Got off with a warning. No DUI for me, bitches. Anyways, it is 5 in the fucking morning. I'm now just getting home. That officer is such a fucking G. I blew a 3.8 and he let me off with a fucking warning. And gave me his number and said we should meet for coffee or lunch. He was hot. So I'm getting lunch with him tomorrow. I literally should be in fucking jail right now, calling my dad to bail me out of fucking jail. And this officer just let me off with a warning. Okay. Put me in fucking handcuffs then, babe. I think I just found my soulmate. I got out of a fucking DUI, bitches. I got out of being arrested. Damn!
Bow. So Anthony Allen, she goes online bragging that she got out of a DUI. She does this thing that many women do, grown women do, which is cry. They start turning on the waterworks, right? And guys who are socially inept, right? Guys who are betas, guys who are easily tricked by their mama's emotion, right? Usually a lot of guys who are raised by the mama, they see the woman crying, and then all of a sudden common sense escapes them, right? They're trying to, they have to console her. They're doing whatever they can. And this happens all the time. We have women out here who claim they want to be equal. They want to be treated fairly. Then they pull this stuff and they laugh. And what it comes down to, really, in my personal, humble opinion, I believe that they want superiority, and they believe, in all honesty, when they do this, that most men are dumb and retarded, which I agree with them. What do you think about this here, sir? Woman cries, gets out of a DUI, blew a 3.8, and she laughing. What do you think?
Yeah, of course, this happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
These females, they can get off the hook because they're female. That's the only reason why she got off the hook. You know, she thinks that she's attractive. And of course, this police officer is thinking with the wrong head.
Absolutely.
And, of course, that's common knowledge that, men do.
Yep.
And, also, men, not only do they fall for the tears, they also fall for the fake hardship.
Yep.
Okay. What's her story? She just got out of a horrible relationship. Of course, that's part
of the hell cares?
The feminist movement. Okay. First, you have to have this fake hardship. This hardship is because I'm a female and I'm emotional. And so then she lays that on the guy. The guy, of course, he's thinking with the wrong head. And now he wants to date her. Now, the problem is that this police officer has entered into a very, very toxic relationship. Guarantee you this will go downhill real fast.
Mm-hmm.
After the goodies have been sampled,
yep,
and after she thinks that she can just, manipulate him in any way, form, or fashion, this guy will probably lose his job.
Yep.
Okay. Maybe she'll convince him to break the law just for her.
Yep.
She starts crying about something, and he said, "Okay, honey," and then, and then he loses his job. So this is feminism on steroids. She's exploiting it. She is not a feminine woman. She's a feminist.
There you go.
This is all she's doing, exploiting feminism.
There you go. She's like many women out there, exploiting feminism and exploiting how dumb guys are, because a lot of guys believe in it. They absolutely do. She went and cried about some dumb heartache. I broke up with my boyfriend, and then I started drinking, and oh my goodness, my life is over. Women can do that because still in the animal kingdom, right? There's something called femininity that's still present, right? So most men, when things of this nature are happening, most men want to solve that type of heartache right then and there. That's why they behave in that manner. And most women take advantage of that in this day and age. She's over here crying like this, and I want the gentleman to understand, my mom spoke to me about women crying a very long time ago, and she told me women only cry like 3 occasions, right? I want folks to understand that women know what it is too. If a woman is crying, most of the time she's trying to take advantage of you, and I want the gentleman to understand that. She is a grown adult. Most women don't cry. The only time they're crying is maybe a loved one has died, right? A dog, kitty, cat, husband, family member. They broke a nail, or they're trying to finesse you. Those are the three. Yeah, I've seen women break a nail and they start crying. Absolutely, I've seen it firsthand. So I know if once they break a nail, some of them start waterworks. Let me tell you. Another one, family member dies, doggy dies. I understand that. Third one, she's finessing ya, and most of the time it's that finesse category. It is. It's absolutely wrong, and this is the main reason why guys have to wake up to this. Last words on this here, sir.
Yeah, you are absolutely correct. Those 3 times, and it does happen a lot when they want to finesse. And so, guys have to understand, guys are fixers. We want to fix things, make things correct. Mm-hmm. So it's natural for us to want to fix something. But when they use it as a point of finesse, like you say, that's when, of course, it's absolutely wrong. And they are using that not to build a relationship, but to control the relationship. Mm-hmm. And so that's when things get really, really, wanky and out of order. And then you hit on another point that women, they want this, and they had this idea of being equal. However, when you treat a woman equal, what does she do? She resorts back to being a feminist. She resorts back to that because she still wants control. She wants to be treated equal, not on equal terms, but on her terms.
There you go.
Her being in control, not saying, she wants to be equal. She wants to be equal, and she wants to cry and finesse. She wants to have these fake hardships in order to control. So the only time you can really see an equal relationship is usually in a workplace where they are forced to be equal.
There you go.
Okay. They can get in trouble, but still the finesse is always there. How can they cry, or how can they have a fake hardship to finesse this situation? It's very, very emotional.
It is. And that's a female's game. Back in the day, women had to use emotion and finessing to control men and people around them. They weren't big and strong, right? They couldn't go out and fight battles. But one thing they could do, finesse. Let me tell you. And over the years, they have become masters at finessing. Let me tell you. You think I'm playing? You know what I'm talking about, Anthony? Masters at finessing. So this is centuries in the making here, gentlemen. You have to prepare for the games. Right? Back in the day, they knew that the women were finessing like that. So they they weren't giving in like that. Nowadays, let me tell you something. Guys getting finessed every which way they look. Every which way they look, because most of them are in their emotions just like their mama. So that somebody cries like this, all of a sudden now you can't think, you can't do the right thing. I hope that officer, she released the officer name, because I know some women are dumb like that, and I want him to get fired, because there's no man on this side of heaven who can get pulled over and cry and get out of a ticket. Doesn't happen, ladies. Nope. Even with the female cops will arrest you too. So as a guy, you in a sense, you get no leniency. You have to perform at a responsible level. And I want the gentleman to understand that. That's why it's so easy right now for these newcomers, these new guys out here, and I use that as a new term, new guys out here, to transition into a woman. You understand? Because it's easier to be a woman. You can cry and get out of stuff, right? Hey, I'm a woman. Don't you do that, right? while you run the other finesse game where you want to be equal. So these guys understand that, hey, being a woman is easier, right? Women complain and they get stuff. Yeah, I don't make this stuff up. I'm telling you, you bring me somewhere, I'm a riot. Hit that like button. Make sure you share. Let's go ahead and move forward. I want to go ahead and give a shout out to somebody who just donated, took the challenge, $5 challenge. I want to go ahead and give a shout out to our good friend, Robert Marvin. Robert Marvin donated, took our challenge on, let me make sure, PayPal. Shout out to Robert Marvin on PayPal. Took the challenge. Says, good job, fellas.
Thank you.
Shout out to Robert Marvin. He is a man out of Minnesota. I believe his wife is a congressional, what is it? What do you call him? District congressional leader. I think in District 5 or something like that. Shout out to Robert Marvin. Ladies and gentlemen, hit that like button. Make sure you do share. We gonna need your help. We definitely gonna need your help. Mr. Allen, I want to go ahead and speak to you about the University of Houston. I spoke about this the other day, and I was quite floored by the response of idiots that seen this video and agreed with the people in the video. University of Houston volleyball players sparks an outrage over what they call a racist video. It shows, a pair of U of H volleyball players laughing at a tree that a black person was hung at long ago. Apparently, videos out there of this, and people can't think, they can't brush their teeth, they can't eat. I don't know what's going on, but let's speak about it. Hit that like button. Make sure you share. Here we go.
Developing tonight now, a controversy involving two University of Houston athletes.
A video posted online has sparked outrage across the city. That video appears to show two U of H volleyball players laughing at the site where two teenage black men were lynched in 1935. KPRC2's Rochelle Turner is live at the university tonight with all the reaction. Rochelle.
Keith, students told me the video is disrespectful and offensive, and the people involved need to be expelled from the university.
This stuff happens all the time because it's just how the world is, to be honest.
Students at the University of Houston trying to find the words after seeing this short 9-second video that allegedly shows two volleyball players driving past a large oak tree in Columbus, Colorado County, where two teenagers were lynched by a mob in 1935.
It's disrespectful, and the fact that they're laughing just shows that they really didn't care at all.
The video has no sound, but the caption says, "This is the hanging tree where we used to hang people."
Considering she's talking about African Americans, so I don't think she should be allowed here on campus.
Definitely think it's offensive.
The university is aware of the video, saying it does not represent our values and is inconsistent with our efforts to foster a diverse, inclusive, and respectful environment. The video sparked outrage just one day after President Biden signed a bill that makes lynching a hate crime.
So I'm very shocked because UH is one of the most diverse campuses, not in Texas, but just in, the country.
And UH cannot comment on specific students. They tell us that they are going to be following the internal guidelines as well as local, state, and federal laws when it comes to addressing this situation. Reporting live from the University of Houston, I'm Rochelle Turner, KPRC 2 News.
Wow. So, Anthony Allen, people are in an uproar. Apparently, you can't laugh at trees. What do you think about this? So, I understand that people may find the video in poor taste. I understand that. Is this enough to go around and do a news story and, you know, try to get somebody expelled and all sorts of other stuff. I mean, where does the buck stop?
Yeah, this is much to do about nothing. I really do want people to stop treating Black people like they're children that have to be constantly coddled. You know, they have to be protected from every little slight, you know, everything. We have this culture where, you know, we have people laughing at everything. Liberals, they tell these off-colored jokes. They tell these raunchy jokes about Christians, about white people, about, you know, moral behavior. They laugh. And then all of a sudden, Black people have to always be protected about, you know, on any sort of issue. They have an issue and they go to the Black people and they say, oh, what do you think about that? Isn't it horrible? And of course, it's all emotion. You know, I don't believe that these people, these students, or the university, they have the right to, you know, police someone's thoughts. You know, they see a video and they all of a sudden they say, here is exactly what these people are saying. Now, listen to the caption. It says, this is where we used to hang people. Big deal. Okay. If that tree was going to be such a difficult thing to deal with, they should have cut the tree down, 87 years ago. You know, just cut the thing down, but they didn't. It's still up there. I guess it's supposed to be a reminder whenever they want to pull at someone's heartstring, they can point to that tree and say, we need to have this measure passed because that's the tree that they did a terrible thing on. Now, not only does that, you know, take care of trees, but how about on the streets?
There you go.
Okay, there's sidewalks, there's streets that horrible things have happened. There are houses, there are yards that horrible things are happening.
Bingo, bango.
You know, so why not just tear down street, you know, tear down apartments, tear down people's yards, tear down everything. But the very idea that, you know, we had to coddle people constantly. There are no safe places, and Black people need to stop having liberal white people always coddling them and protecting them from every slight.
Absolutely. You know, Anthony Allen, you made a very, 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 very good point. You did when you spoke about, well, gosh darn it, how about the sidewalks? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? How about the stop signs? I know plenty of Negroes killed on the stop signs. You mean to tell me nobody can, you know, laugh and say, hey, some Negroes were killed on this stop sign? Yeah, I mean, corner. It gets to the point where it's like, Blacks, sit your ass down. It get to that point, Anthony Allen. Black ass, stop it. You know, ladies and gentlemen, this is nonsense. That's why I say I blame white people for this, because white people are the ones who give this credence. And one thing, too, Anthony Allen, are blacks the only people on this side of heaven who have been discriminated against? Because it seems like that's all we speak about is dumb black folks.
Yeah.
Last words.
That's
Go
my
ahead.
point. Yeah, that's my point, Jermaine BOTSIO. Thanks. This whole idea, people are killed on the corner sometime. And, you know, people drive by and say, hey, that corner, that's where Billy Bob got popped at. Ha, ha, ha.
Yep.
You know, these black people, they need to really have some substance about themselves. You know, these people are in college. They should be spending time on reading, writing, and arithmetic.
There you go.
And not allow these people to put them in a emotional tailspin. Now all these students are talking about, instead of them, you know, pursuing academic excellence, they're emotionally hurt and distraught. Okay, these students should be studying, reading, writing, arithmetic. When I was in engineering school at Georgia Tech, guess what? Within the city, all kinds of horrible things happened. You know, people were killed, people were called all kinds of names, but guess what? Our professor didn't say, well, you know what? In the light of these people getting hurt, there's no test today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In light of these people, having been called a horrible name, guess what? We're going to give all the black people an A in class today. That didn't happen. If there was riots in Atlanta, we still had classes that day. Okay. There wasn't no, well, guess what? All the blacks, you don't have to go to class today because the mayoral candidate didn't win the election. There was nothing like that. You had to work and get it done in spite of the things that were happening around you. And when you went across campus and someone called you a nigger, guess what? You still had to perform on that test. You couldn't go to the professor and say, I made an F because going across campus, someone called me a nigger and I can't think anymore. The professor say, you earned it, buddy. Here's your grade. Don't care what happened. You have to still perform. And that's what black people need to do. Move on, learn how to perform in difficult situations.
Absolutely. Learn how to cope and learn how to persevere against adversity.
There you go.
These things are missing in our culture nowadays. A lot of it is because mama's raising a lot of the children out there. And then we have a female first culture, let alone to blacks, liberals, and women. Gosh darn it, you'll be locked up for what you say, Anthony Allen. Let me tell y'all, you'll be locked up for what you say. And I don't make this stuff up. So there's a big problem that is going on here, and we need to solve it. And one of the easiest ways to solve this is if most white people were on code with each other. Majority of these mainstream black folks, right? They're on code. Absolutely. They're on code with each other. I want white folks to understand. Yeah, the mainstream blacks, the people who ascribe to the mainstream black culture, they are on code with each other. That means they act a certain way when they see your white ass. Yup. Absolutely. Yeah. Ain't that crazy? Yeah. When we say that black folks think think through a monolith, we don't make this stuff up. They are on code. White people need to be on code too. When black folks are crying and complaining like this, there should be a white person to look at another white person, right? And do one of these. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, Anthony Allen?
Yeah.
That's the code to the other white person to say, hey, this black person is running some finesse game. Don't even fall for it. Right. White people need to be on code as well, because if you're not, you can see what's going on. You can see it. Let's go ahead and move forward. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you share. Now, Anthony Allen, there is a problem here in our country, among many other problems, let me tell you. The liberals are setting up institutions and foundations and funding them so that they can go after, quote unquote, racist incidences in people's states. It's the most, let me tell you something. I was shocked to even see this, but I know firsthand because we have one of these type of institutions right down the street from us. I want to go ahead and run this. Healing Racism Institute receives a funding gift. All right, this I believe comes from a video out of Massachusetts. I want you guys to take a look at this. When it come back, I want to speak about it. Make sure you guys share. Here we go.
Welcome back. The Massachusetts legislature has awarded $50,000 to a Springfield agency that uncovers racism where it's least expected to exist. State Senator Adam Gomez and his Western Massachusetts legislative colleagues came calling today on the Springfield-based Healing Racism Institute of Pioneer Valley. The money will help aid the organization in building racism-free communities, organizations, and institutions.
Being able to have these conversations, while they can be uncomfortable, are necessary to help people learn and grow about a human experience.
I took this course with this organization many years ago, and I know that the hard work that they're doing within the workplace and the region around on making sure people understand biases and obviously racism that does exist.
During the past few weeks, Senator Gomez and other Springfield legislators have delivered substantial amounts of money to help nonprofits that over the years have benefited Western Massachusetts.
There you go. So, Anthony Allen, how crazy, how evil is this here? The liberals are funding institutions like this so that they can go after what they call, find racism wherever it is. In a dog, at the kitty farm. You get what I'm saying? At the flea market, wherever it is. That is absolutely outrageous. Conservatives, you see what's going on? We need institutions and foundations where we can, find fake racism and all sorts of other stuff. What do you think about this here, Anthony Allen? I mean, how do we move past this narrative if the liberals are funding institutions to promote the narrative even more?
Yeah, that's all this is. You are exactly correct. This is the promotion of racism, not the elimination of it, because the implication is that America's institutions are racist. Okay, that's all the implication is. And this is not true. Americans' institutions are not racist. Now, are there racist? Are there Ku Klux Klanners? Are there, Black Panthers? Yeah. But Americans' institutions are not racist at all. So what we're dealing with is the fact that this grant presupposes that America is a racist country. And this is what is called CRT, critical race theory. Critical race theory says that from the very beginning, the very start, America is a racist country. No other look from the left or the right, up or down. That's all it means, is that America is a inherently racist country. Now, this is also a race hustle. That's all this is. Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, they never had it this good.
Nope.
Where some group, where they can have a foundation and some group can say, here's $50,000 and you can fight racism that way. They don't have to bang on, pans. They don't have to run around yelling and screaming at people. They can just set up a foundation and say, we believe in CRT. We believe that America is a racist country. And guess what? They can get a grant. And that's all this is, another way to hustle race. And the people that will benefit from it are the people that really don't give a flip.
Yep.
The people that involved in this company, they don't care. They're just getting paid in the same way that Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton do. This is a hustle. This is a race hustle. That's all it is.
Absolutely. You ain't lying about that. It's a big time race hustle. These folks here are using these institutions and these foundations to push their narrative that racism is alive and well in this country. And what they'll do is they'll funnel money into a lot of these institutions. And these institutions, you know what they'll do with the money? They'll mismanage it. It'll go into a lot of these people's pockets. You know what I'm talking about, Anthony Allen?
Oh,
it's the same thing that they use with these community after-school programs, right? Hey, there's so much violence in this community. Let's go ahead and have an after-school program, and we'll let Jamar Quavius, Tyrone, and them play b-ball. They could play basketball after school, and that will keep these little buggers out of jail. This is the type of nonsense that comes from the liberal left. And while they speak about after-school programs, right, they go ahead and rent a community center. They pocket the money that's coming from the taxpayers, and then they just let the people screw up the community center and shoot out right in the front. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to start looking at this from a different point of view. And these people here are using this to push a fake narrative, and they're also using this to line their pockets with cashola. Because one thing that will never, ever, ever end until people wake up is this racism game. It's filled with money and filled with power. Last words here, sir.
Yes, the best way to fight this fake racism, is to work, is to get off your butt, stop looking around and under every rock for racism so you can get paid, and to work, to pursue happiness, to pursue life, to find something to do, get involved with something, meet some people. That's how you fight racism. This whole idea that, any black company or foundation, all they have to do is say, we hate America. America is racist. And they'll get all kinds of money. It doesn't do any good. And just like you said, Jermaine BOTSIO, they mismanage that money. They align their pockets with it. And the people that are going to these after-school programs, it doesn't help them one bit. But what will help them is work. Mm-hmm. That's what Clarence Thomas did. That's what Condoleezza Rice did. That's what Dr. Ben Carson did. That's what you do. That's what I do. That's what people do. They want to fight racism, get their butt to work. That's Absolutely. The best way to do it.
Absolutely. Get your ass to work and shut up. That'll work. I want to go ahead and give a shout out to Pookie Martinez. Pookie Martinez donated on our Rumble channel, took the $5 challenge. Pookie Martinez says $5 challenge from SoCal. Let's flame. Let's flame. Shout out to Pookie Martinez. Let me go ahead and give you the customaries. Absolutely. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, hit that like button. Make sure you do share. All right? I need your help. Next one up, I want to speak about Disney. Everybody and their mama's mama who is a conservative is speaking about Disney right now. Liberals, on the other hand, a lot of them don't care. A lot of liberals are saying that conservatives are being bigots, right? Yeah. A lot of them are calling us bigots. They're crazy. I want to show you guys this video, this leaked video that deals with Disney executives as they promote and explain them pushing what they call a gay agenda. I want to go ahead and show you guys this. Make sure you share. There's a lot of people who have not seen this. They heard about it. A whole bunch of people have heard about it, but a lot of people have not heard the leaked audio and the video. I want you guys to take a look at this. When it come back, we shall speak about it. Make sure you do share. Hit that like button. Share. And if you can, throw something in the tip jar. Help us out. Help us keep pushing the content you guys love and deserve. All right? Here we go.
I'm here as a mother of two queer children, actually, one transgender child and one pansexual child, and also as a leader. And that was the thing that really got me, because I have heard so much from so many of my colleagues over the course of the last couple of weeks, in open forums and through emails and phone conversations. And I feel a responsibility to speak, not just for myself, but for them, to all of us. We had an open forum last week at 20th where, again, the home of really incredible, groundbreaking LGBTQIA stories over the years, where one of our execs stood up and said, you know, we only have a handful of queer leads in our content. And I went, what? That can't be true. And I realized, oh, it actually is true. We have many, many, many LGBTQIA characters in our stories, and yet we don't have enough leads and narratives in which gay characters just get to be characters, and not have to be about gay stories. And so that's been very eye-opening for me. And I can tell you, it's something that I feel perhaps had this moment not happened, I, as a leader, and me as my colleagues, would not have focused on. And going forward, I certainly will be more so. I know that we will be, and I hope this is a moment where, shoot, the 50% of the tears, sorry, are coming. We just don't allow each other to go back.
Last summer, we removed all of the gendered greetings in relationship to our life skills. So we no longer say ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We've provided training for all of our cast members in relationship to that. So now they know it's hello everyone or hello friends. We are in the process of changing over those recorded messages. And so many of you are probably familiar when we brought the fireworks back to the Magic Kingdom. We no longer say ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we say dreamers of all ages. And so I love the fact that it's opened up the creativity, the opportunity for our cast members to look at that. We have our cast members working with merchandise, working with food and beverage, working with all of our guest facing areas where perhaps, you know, we want to create that magical moment with our cast members, with our guests. And we don't want to just assume because someone might be in our interpretation, maybe presenting as female, that they may not want to be called princess. So let's think differently about how do we really engage with our guests in a meaningful and inclusive way that makes it magical and memorable for everyone.
Like, I love Disney's content. I grew up watching, you know, all of the classics. They have been a huge, like, informative part of my life. But at the same time, like, I worked at small studios most of my career, and I'd heard, you know, you hear whispers. Like, I'd heard things like, oh, you know, they won't let you show this at a Disney show. And I'm like, okay. So I was a little, like, sus when I started. But then my experience was bafflingly the opposite of what I had heard. On my little pocket of, like, you know, Proud Family, Disney TVA, the showrunners are super welcoming, Meredith Roberts, and, like, our leadership over there has been so welcoming to like my like not at all gay agenda. And so like I felt like it was, I mean like maybe it was that sense of I don't have to be afraid to like opposite of what I had heard. On my little pocket of, like, you know, Proud Family, Disney TVA, the showrunners are super welcoming, Meredith Roberts,
and I'm going to stop it right here. So
leadership over there has been so welcoming to like my like not at all gay agenda. And so like I feel like,
and I'm going to stop it right here. So there's I don't know, there's some sort of issue with this video here, but this woman here is speaking about the gay agenda, Anthony Allen.
Yes.
She's saying that Disney, you know, they weren't really thrown back about, you know, her putting out a gay agenda. As a matter of fact, they were for it. She was trying to put queer wherever she could put queer. What do you think about this here?
Yeah, this is very, very disturbing. She is a very, very sick individual, as we can see, because she wants queer to be everywhere. She wants this unnatural, you know, debacle and debauchery to be everywhere. She is for the grooming of children for sex, grooming them to be a little sex toy for these perverts. That's what she is advocating. This first lady, she's an unfit mother. She's bragging about how she has one child that's transgender. Somehow this child that's transgender was led to believe that this child was born wrong, has the wrong sex organ. Okay, how did this child get this in their head? So that's her being unfit to allow this to occur. She also has one child that's pansexual. Of course, that definition is having a sexual or a romantic attraction to people regardless of gender. So she is definitely an unfit mother.
Yep.
In fact, all of these people, they happen to be women, and they're talking about their unfitness as mothers and, as human beings. This is the same sort of idea that we see in the nomination of Ketanji, I should say, Ketanji Brown Jackson. They don't have any idea what women are. They don't have any idea what, sex is or gender. And they are constantly wanting the institutions to groom children for them. These children have to be made this way, convinced that, they are this way. And now we have a grooming mechanism called Disney. They want to groom children, and Disney wants the school system to also groom children. So this is where we are now in our culture, the grooming of children for sexual debauchery. This is horrible, and people should boycott Disney.
Absolutely. They need to boycott Disney, Anthony Allen. People like Jumanji Jackson, let me tell you, they love Disney. They love to go ahead and give a lot of these pedophiles low sentences and make sure they get out. A lot of them, they feel sympathy, Anthony Allen, to tell you the truth, for a lot of these pedophiles and child molesters. I want folks to understand that, right? And they have a new term. What is it called? Minor attracted something. There's an acronym for it, but there's a new, basically a definition of, pedophilia that is out there that is supposed to be more, how can I say, more appealing, less derogatory in their eyes. And I want minor attracted person. So a person who is attracted to a minor, they call them a MAP. It's crazy. But these things are going on, and there's a small segment of our population, along with the elite, that have a plan. They don't want people to have children. And this goes into it. If you can make the whole world gay, gosh darn it, nobody would have children, right? I want folks to understand depopulation is one of their things. And if they can trick people into this crazy, unhealthy lifestyle, then they will. I want people to understand that. That's why the government's so quick to try to take your children away from you, separate the men from the women, make sure that they're destitute. I want people to understand that. It is by design. Last words on this here, sir.
Yeah, sane Americans, we are dealing with a very, very sophisticated people, pedophiles. And these pedophiles are no longer grooming children themselves. Like these people are no longer doing it themselves. They are so sophisticated that now they want the government, they want the schools to do it for them, okay? And they want these children groomed as early as possible, okay? Maybe the regular run-of-the-mill pedophile, maybe they may wait, a little bit longer to start grooming a child. But now they're saying, first grade, kindergarten, let's start grooming these children now. And this is what we are dealing with. And we sane Americans, we need to push back and fight back all of this stuff because they will never relent unless we as conservatives and sane people push back on it.
Absolutely. They will never, ever, ever. They want your children. I want people to understand they want your children. So we have to fight. We have to. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you share. Governor Ron DeSantis signals support for stripping Disney of special operating privileges. I want to go ahead and run this quick story. When it come back, I want to get your take on this. They're trying to call Ron DeSantis a bigot now. They're saying that he's hurting employees and not Disney. I'm thinking that he's saving gosh darn children's eyes and lives. You get what I'm saying? The eyes for them seeing this crap and also their lives. Is that more important than some people's employment? Absolutely. They can find jobs somewhere else if they're mad. If Disney want to shake that tree a little bit. Hit that like button. Make sure you share. Here we go.
Governor Ron DeSantis says he supports stripping Disney of its special status, which allows it to operate as an independent government around its theme park. Disney has had this status for 55 years, but it's coming under fire by the governor after the Walt Disney Company announced its goal to repeal the recent controversial Parental Rights in Education bill, widely known as the Don't Say Gay bill. It was just signed into law by the governor on Monday.
My view is we should just treat everybody equally. We shouldn't let one company have their own set of rules compared to everybody else. And I think they've been able to sustain this because they've had a lot of clout for many, many decades. And I think now
the special status law was put in place back in 1967. The governor says it's up to the legislature to repeal it, but it wouldn't be up for consideration until the next legislative session next year.
Bow. Special operating privileges. He wants to get rid of it. What do you think?
Oh yeah, this is great because Ron DeSantis, he is behaving like a person in power, like a Republican or a conservative in power, and this is how conservatives and Republicans should be behaving. If they are in power, they should use that power to exact and lay in place conservative principles. No more should Republicans be behaving so feckless and reckless and, unconcerned. They should wield that power very, very effectively. Now, in addition, what Ron DeSantis is threatening, he is threatening also Disney's copyright. That copyright has to be renewed. I don't know when it's up for renewal, but Ron DeSantis is threatening their copyright. And that just means that if he does that, he takes it away from them, then that copyright, the logos, all that becomes public domain. So essentially, Disney could lose millions, maybe even billions of dollars because other people can set up theme parks and call it Disneyland, Disney World.
Absolutely.
They can use the mouse logo. They can use the Disney logo. So this is what conservatives need to do. They need to copy, DeSantis' attitude. We should be striking fear in the Democrats and the liberals' heart by threatening the way that Ron DeSantis is threatening to take away special privileges, which means that Disney World and Disneyland, they get to govern themselves like a little town, like a little community. Take that away from them. Also the copyright. Take the copyright away from them. Make them feel the pain. So yeah, I do support Ron DeSantis because he is behaving like a Republican and a conservative in power should be behaving, striking fear in the hearts of liberals and Democrats.
Yeah, absolutely correct. I believe in a sense Republicans do need to copy this type of attitude as well. They certainly do. They need to be striking fear in the heart of pedophiles and people who think like this.
Absolutely.
Every day they should be in fear of going to jail or some sort of legal sanction on their ass. That's how it should be. We're making them feel too comfortable in a sense in our society for them to be pulling stuff like this. And I want people to understand, right? The reason why they're upfront about a gay agenda is because they feel comfortable now.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying? I want people to understand that. We have pussified ourselves and we have not done our due diligence in really combating a lot of what they are pushing. And the reason why that is, ladies and gentlemen, is because of our culture, right? Our female first culture. Conservatives, a whole bunch of them, especially the men, right? They're scared of the mouth. They're scared of emotional backlash. That is something that most people in this day and age have inside of them. It's a pussy weakness that is just sitting there dangling in the wind. Scared that somebody might get mad. Scared that somebody might get sad and upset. So you don't speak the truth on issues that are really important. This issue about pushing a gay agenda on children or even exposing these type of things to children, we should have had a national discussion on it. We should have had the Republican Party, right? The leaders there pushing a national topic on this. Everywhere they go, they start speaking about this. We want to know, what is the benefit of pushing this gay agenda in our country? What is the benefit of pushing an abnormal lifestyle that is only represented by less than 3% of our population? Us as Republicans, we love our children. We know that they're not naturally like that. We want to have a conversation. What is the benefit?
Yes.
And we've never had this conversation, an honest conversation about this. And when we do, you will see the excuses, you will see the backpedaling, you will see, excuse my French, the bullshit coming out. And it will be nothing but an emotional argument about how somebody effing feels. I want people to understand that. About how somebody effing feels versus gosh darn biology and reality. So I want people to understand we have given up our children, a whole bunch of us, for a dumb agenda because nobody on our right side wants to have an honest conversation with the dummies on the left. One person that I'm going to point out, Matt Walsh from Daily Wire, when he sat up there on, what's his name? What's that stupid white man's name? Dr. Phil. He was on Dr. Phil's show and he was speaking to a transgender on there. So many people agreed with him that it changed their mind because all he had to do is just speak reality. If you let these fools speak, they will speak themselves out of existence. All you gotta do is allow them to speak, and you'll hear how cockamamie this is, to the point where you're thinking to yourself, how the hell did we even allow this to go on? Last words.
Beautiful, man. I just love how you laid that out there like that. You know, you got to let these people speak because they will speak themselves out of existence. You are exactly 100% correct. Also, conservatives and Republicans, they need to man up.
There you go.
Woman up and talk about this stuff. like you said, man, there should be a national outrage from the right, from the Republican Party, and there should be a march on Washington.
There you go.
With some angry people on the right talking about, this craziness that the left, this transgenderism that they want to put on our children. They want our children. And so these pedophiles, these sexual perverts, these people, they want our children, and they want our schools, our institutions to groom children for them to molest.
There you go.
Assault.
And it is evil.
Said. Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
It is absolutely evil. Shout out to James Williams. James Williams with the guitar. Brother, you need a gosh darn wrench. He said the right is weak. The right is weak on this topic here. They're weak because they have fallen for the okie doke. That's why we have to be strong when presenting these things here. Things that we're saying here is not wrong. I want folks to understand it's not wrong at all. It's the fact that the people who are living this lifestyle don't want anybody to say anything about it. It's easier to trick more folks into the lifestyle and live in the lifestyle than somebody to point it out and to try to stop it or from, growing and growing. We have to be honest about this. These people cannot have an honest conversation with us because they know where it will go. It will lead. It will. Let me just be honest. It will lead to them making a fool out of themselves.
Yes. Yes.
Because emotional arguments will always lose. And I want people to understand that. That's why the liberal left always loses when it comes to the battle of wits. They're into emotional arguments. I want people to understand that. Why do you think they throw women in the front? Right? A lot of conservative men, they're weak because they still have this mindset back in the day that most of the women are still feminine and they still act like back in the day. The women don't act like that anymore, gentlemen. They don't. It's a brand new world here. So we have to act accordingly. We have to start pointing these things out, being honest about what's going on. Because once we do that, you will see the tap dancing, you will see the emotional argument go right off the cliff. You will see it because once people hear nonsense and gibberish in an open forum, they want to see who's dumb enough to go along with it. When you're in an echo chamber filled with dumb folks, the dumbest person in the room sounds smart. Remove them from that echo chamber and put them in a diverse room. And you will see that echo chamber get smaller and smaller as the facts get bigger and bigger. Let's go ahead and move forward.
Yes.
Hit that like button. Make sure you share. I want to go ahead and give a shout out to my guy, James Williams with the guitar. Donated, took our challenge for a few folks. Let me tell you. Shout out to James Williams with the guitar. Been following me forever. Absolutely. He's been following me forever. James Williams with the guitar. Absolutely. Yep. Go check out his music. Really good. Hit that like button. Make sure you do share. Make sure you do. Next one up. Next one up, ladies and gentlemen. I want to speak to you guys about gas prices. A lot of people are paying high gas prices. Here in Minneapolis, the average is $4.19. They say the national average is $4.23. Gas prices right now are so high in California or California that people are driving to Mexico to get gas. So I want you guys to take a look at this. When it come back, I want to speak about it. Biden What a fool. Here we go.
Filling up at a crowded Rendichica's gas station in Tijuana, Mexico. But notice the California plates on some of these vehicles with drivers from
La Vista, in Broadway in Chula Vista. Vista, California.
Yep, California drivers. They're crossing the U.S. border into Mexico looking for cheaper gas prices.
I should save $20, $30 or more.
That much?
Yes.
Let's do the math for you here. You see, $20.49. This is per liter. 4 liters to a gallon. When you do the exchange rate, we're talking about $3.85 a gallon for regular. Unleaded, $4.19 per gallon.
Bow. So Mexico, their gas is a lot cheaper. Anthony Allen, a whole bunch cheaper. How bad, you can see how bad the U.S. is. It's so bad, people got to cross the border to get gas. Pretty soon, people be crossing the border to get water and food. It is that bad. What do you think about this here, brother?
You know, Americans are smart people, and if they could save a buck someplace else, they're going to do that. The small town that I live in, Oak Ridge, Tennessee, the gas prices here are $4.19. You know what I do? I drive maybe 10 miles, cross a nice bridge into a nice county, and I pull up to a gas station, and the gas is about 10 cents cheaper there. Okay, so everyone in Oak Ridge, we go across the bridge, as we say, to buy gas cheaper. And so people in California, I understand their gas prices are, $7 and up. So why not drive down to Mexico and get gas for half price? Anyone would do that. But, the Biden administration, they are complete imbeciles. Okay, they have screwed up Americans' independence on, gasoline, and they are trying to buy gas from foreign countries, buy oil, I should say, from foreign countries and from countries that hate us. Okay, and then they are going to try to deplete the reserves, the oil reserves also. This isn't going to get any better, and people have to be smarter and do like we do. Go across the bridge or go to another country and buy your gas there.
Absolutely. You're going to have to start, doing things like that. What I've been doing, I have an app called the Upside app. And the Upside app gives you, cents off your gallons. Right now, I'm up to 37 cents off a gallon, which to me is beautiful. That they have a lot of companies right now who are giving away, how can I say, cents off gas if you go and shop at certain places. So right now people have to be savvy. This guy here, Joe Biden, he's not going to help you out. He's not. Yesterday we spoke about how Joe Biden said that he's going to tap into our oil reserve. Apparently, they're going to take a third of the oil reserve. Now, economists, are saying that this may not even do anything. This is what they're saying. They're saying that it could just cause more demand for gas because the gas is cheaper at that time, and then put us right back into this gas price hole, or even a lot more deeper. So right now, what he is doing is just putting a Band-Aid on an issue that we can easily solve if we just be pragmatic about this. You get what I'm saying, Anthony Allen? I mean, why don't we do what works? I mean, Anthony Allen, my goodness gracious, what's wrong with that? These people are talking about electric vehicles, wind farms, all sorts of dumb stuff. Why don't we do what works? Last words.
I tell you what works is drill, baby, drill. That's what works, right?
Absolutely.
We have the world's biggest oil reserves, for whatever reason, in God's infinite wisdom, he blessed America. That's why we say God bless America, because this tiny little area here has a lot of resources, a lot of oil. We have these huge oil reserves. And we have some very, very smart people that understand how to go and get it, okay? Our oil here on this continent is easier to refine than the oil from Saudi Arabia, the oil from Venezuela, the oil from Russia. This is easy, or sweet oil, as they call it. And it's easy to get, and it's easier to refine. But according to the green people, you can't drill, you can't cut down a tree, you can't do anything. And that drives the price of energy sky high. So what to do about the oil prices or gas prices? Drill, baby, drill.
Absolutely. Drill, open up that Keystone XL pipeline.
Absolutely.
Do what is needed.
Yes.
Do what is needed. Please, ladies and gentlemen, do what is needed. I want to go ahead and give a shout out to Lola TX. Lola TX donated through our Rumble app. Says, matching Pookie, another gallon of gas for you. Shout out to Lola TX. Took the $5 challenge on Rumble. Shout out to Lola TX. Shout out to you. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you do share, all right? We're going to need your help. We definitely going to need your help. Next one up. I want to go ahead here and let me pull this up here, make sure that bow. I want to speak to you guys about Kamala Neepads Hawass. She was on the readout. You guys know this black nasty woman. She goes by the name of Joy Reid. Just a nasty black woman. She shifts hair hats every single second. You guys know who I'm talking about. Well, she did an interview with Joy Reid, and she spoke about a lot of things in this interview here. And I want to just play two segments, I should say, from this interview. One has to deal with Ukraine. The other has to deal with January 6th. I want to go ahead and run the first one that deals with Ukraine. Make sure you guys do me a favor. You guys hit that like button and share. All right. There's a lot of people out there who need to hear this type of commentary. They really do. All right. So make sure you guys do your due diligence. Hit that like button and share, baby, share. All right. Absolutely. Here we go. Make sure you do your due diligence. Here we go.
State about this issue, among many other issues, but most recently about this issue. And I will tell you, in sitting down with prime ministers and presidents, often the first thing they would say to me is thank you to the United States and this administration for bringing us together, for building the coalition, for reinvigorating the relationship between the United States and its NATO allies, reinvigorating the relationship and the importance of the relationship to the EU in terms of an issue like Ukraine, which is ultimately about one of the most important principles that we are fighting for, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity.
Well, I mean, on Putin specifically, I think that the world largely agrees, with very, very few exceptions, that what Putin has done has not only been destructive to Ukraine, he's destroying Ukraine utterly. There are places like Mariupol that are being wiped off the map, but he's destroyed his own country as well. He has made Russia into a lone nation, into a sort of North Korea. And And the way that the world deals with countries like North Korea, countries like Cuba, is that they don't deal with them as normal nations as long as the dictator is in charge. Boris Johnson, the British Prime Minister, has said that sanctions should continue to be ratcheted up so long as the troops, as Russian troops, are in Ukraine. Should those sanctions continue as long as Vladimir Putin is the dictator of Russia?
Well, I'm not going to speculate about the future. I'm going to tell you where we are now. They are intact, and we will continue to upgrade them and make them so more severe as appropriate. And as far as we are concerned, everything is on the table in that regard, because we are seeing extreme atrocities. We are seeing maternity hospitals being bombed. We're seeing a location that was so clearly designated as being a shelter, a place of safety for children. We are seeing, to your point, millions of people being displaced, potentially permanently, in a war that was instigated, unprovoked, unjustified, against a whole population of people. So yeah, the sanctions are going to be severe, and they will last as long as these atrocities and this aggression.
Bow. So I'm going to stop it right here. First one up, Anthony Allen. She says that the sanctions are going to remain as long as, quote unquote, these atrocities are going on. The way Kamala Harris speaks about, the invasion of Ukraine, it's almost like a little kid. She's not even really speaking honestly about it. She's tap dancing around it. Her voice is like she's explaining it to, somebody who's dumb and retarded. I just can't believe anybody can sit there and listen to her for this long. She says that people around the world are happy and are congratulating the U.S. for taking a bold step against, Russia and helping out Ukraine. I mean, none of the stuff that is really going on she's speaking about. It's just a severe gloss over. What do you think about this here?
Yeah, Joy Reid, she's an awful person, awful woman. She's mean. Can you imagine sitting down next to her or across from her? Immediately there would be fireworks everywhere, because she would be able to sense that I am a starch conservative, and she would be able to just come after me. Of course, I would go after her. Now, getting back to Clown Kamala Harris. Clown Kamala Harris, she is the head chef of the word salad. You would think that someone that has her credentials, I think she was a California AG, you would think that she has a vocabulary. Me being an engineer, computer science guy, I have that kind of a vocabulary. I speak in terms with those things that I learned from my career. But she doesn't even have that, okay? Like you said, she speaks like she's a 6-year-old, always talking to other 6-year-olds, okay? She has no sense of what she's doing, where she's at, or the audience she's speaking with. This is a horrible person to represent the level of vice president. And this goes on and on and on. So it was just like when she explained the Russian-Ukraine war. Remember what she said? Russia is a big country.
Yep.
And Ukraine is a small country. And she went and talked like that, and people were just appalled. This woman talks about herself, being in Europe this number of times and that number of times, but she hasn't even been to the U.S. border. And someone told her that the key word is reinvigorating, reinvigorating. And that's what she wants to make emphasis on. And she wants to use her hands like she's being deep and sensitive, reinvigorating, reinvigorating. The interview before that, a couple of weeks ago, she used the term the passage of time. That was her key word then, okay? So now her key word is reinvigorating. This is an awful person. She cannot articulate J6. She cannot articulate the Russian-Ukraine war. She can't even articulate who she is as a vice president. She's a horrible representation. And Kamala Harris is what we get when we have Democrats that qualify people based on gender and color.
Absolutely. This is what you get when somebody says that I need just a woman vice president.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this female first crap. This is what you get. Now she said something else here that I want you guys to hear, and she spoke about January 6th. I want you guys to take a look at what she says about January 6ers. Here we go. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you do share.
You are absolutely spot on from my perspective that this is about our democracy and an attempt to weaken the strength of it, but also the legitimacy of it. And there are foreign actors that try and do it, and then we have domestic threats. And that's part of what we witnessed on January 6th. And there needs to be, of course, consequence for that. So that is occurring in terms of the process that is about seeking the evidence about what actually happened and who are the bad actors, because, of course, yes, they should pay a consequence. There should be accountability. In terms of elected leaders, to the extent that they were complicit in a crime, of course, there should be some kind of response to that. But also there should be, I think, a continuing discussion about the fact that what happened on January 6th was a concerted attempt to undermine the integrity of our elections system, to suggest that in any way it lacked legitimacy. And that plays right into the hands of all of those who would attempt to say America does not live its principles. And we have to all stand up and be clear that, no, that does not reflect the majority of us. The majority of us believe in free and fair elections. The majority of us believe in the integrity of this process. The majority of us will fight for attacks against it, which are both as it relates to what happened on January 6th, but also what is happening around the country in terms of legislation that is being passed to make it more difficult for people to vote. All of that needs to happen.
Bow.
We're back with more.
So there you go. So Anthony Allen, she's saying that more needs to happen. There needs to be more discussion on how, quote unquote, conservatives are trying to undermine the election, all sorts of other dumb stuff. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I want to cut through the chase because we know what she's after. These Democrats, they are after President Trump. What they want to do is, link him and charge him with sedition. Okay, they can use the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. There is a clause in there that says that anyone that was involved in the insurrection, anyone that was involved with the insurrection will no longer be able to run for office.
Again. Yeah, I heard about that.
And so that's in the 14th Amendment. If you were involved with the insurrection, and that insurrection, of course, was the Civil War, and they are trying to get Trump off the ballot to run for president. So that's why they use the wording of the Constitution whenever they talk about what happened on January the 6th. They call it an insurrection because they want Trump off the ballot. They did have a test case in North Carolina where they had a Republican, Californians, that they tried to keep him off the ballot there, and they didn't, and they were not successful. But that was just a test case. So Kamala Harris, she's just dispensing the talking points of the radical Democrats who want Trump off of the ballot. They have no desire to run against Donald Trump.
Yep.
They want him off the ballot, and eventually they want him in jail. And that's just cutting through the chase of all this mess.
It really is. The globalists, the Luciferians, they're terrified of Trump. They are. They're absolutely terrified, and it's because of Trump's mouth. He's real. When you're real and genuine, Luciferians are absolutely upset about that because it's contagious. And let me tell you something, it can wake people out of a spell.
Yes.
Look the way Trump came. He woke people out of their slumber. Do you understand? By just telling the truth. Somebody heard another politician telling the truth, and then their eyes started blinking. The crust from their eyes started breaking up, right? They started seeing the light. They're like, holy smokes. Like, my goodness gracious, I thought like this too, but I thought I was retarded. No, you ain't retarded. The other fools are retarded. You have to stand on what you know. These people here, they want Trump gone. And that is one of the main reasons why they want to keep speaking about January 6th, using all this terminology and language that's coming from the Constitution, and throwing up all sorts of charges, including the kitchen sink. They want something to stick. Ladies and gentlemen, they want something to stick. And they're having a hard time doing it right now, a very hard time. Now, there's a woman... And I should retract that. There's a witch, by the name of Hillary Clinton. She had an interview earlier today on MSNBC. And Hillary Clinton spoke about Russia. She says that we have to double down on the pressure on Russia. The world depends on us. She's a crazy woman or witch, whichever one you choose. I want to go ahead and run a little bit of this. When I come back, I want to speak about it. What do you guys think? Here we go.
Welcome back. Hillary Clinton has a lot to say about Vladimir Putin. As Secretary of State, she famously called for a reset in U.S.-Russian relations, but Putin was having none of it. And by the time Clinton left office in 2013, Putin repeatedly attacked her in very personal terms. That animosity may have played a role in Russia's efforts to help Donald Trump in his 2016 campaign against Clinton. Perhaps he feared she'd have a much tougher policy against him. Hillary Clinton joins me now. Madam Secretary, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thanks very much, Chuck. Good to be with you.
I want to pick up on, I know you were listening to the interview with Masha Gessen. I want to pick up on Masha's last point there, which seemed to imply that no matter when we've confronted Putin, and I could go back really all the way to when he came into power, it seems as if we've always come up a bit short. We've drawn a line not quite as far as others would like to draw. You've made points of this about Syria. Perhaps we should have drawn a thicker line on what happened in Crimea. Why is that? And are you concerned we're maybe holding back now a little too much?
Well, no. Now I think we are really looking at this with our eyes wide open and seeing very clearly the threat that he poses, not just to Ukraine, as we can watch every night on our news, but really to Europe, to democracy and the global stability that we thought we were building in the last 20 years. So, Chuck, I really agree with both what Secretary Blinken said, that we've got to continue to keep the pressure on Putin and the Russian troops. We cannot in any way pause our efforts to support the Ukrainians. And I agree with Masha that we have to double down. There is more that can be done to increase pressure and stress, additional sanctions, more in the way of lethal aid. And now that there has been a pushback, thanks to the brave Ukrainian military offensive action, there is time to resupply the Ukrainians so that they can continue to defend their country.
You heard Secretary Blinken essentially say, look, sanctions relief could happen. It all depends on the behavior of Russia. Can we really live in a world where Putin's let back into the New World Order?
Well, that's not what I heard him say. What I heard him say was that really we are going to support the Ukrainians, the people and the government of Ukraine, as they try to figure out what for them is the best way forward. And that, I think, is exactly the right position for the United States, Europe, and the West, and other countries to take. Your second part of that question, though, is a really important one. I would not allow Russia back into the organizations that it has been a part of. I think there's an upcoming G20 event later in the year. I would not permit Russia to attend. And if they insisted on literally showing up, I would hope there would be a significant, if not total, boycott. The only way that we're going to end the bloodshed and the terror that we're seeing unleashed in Ukraine and protect Europe and democracy is to do everything we can to impose even greater costs on Putin. There are more banks that can be sanctioned and taken out of the so-called SWIFT relationship. There is an increasing call for doing more on gas and oil. Now, obviously, some of our strongest allies in Europe are desperately trying to get out from under their dependence upon Russian energy. We need to expedite, and I know the administration has been doing that, looking at more deliveries of liquefied natural gas, for instance. So I think now is the time to double down on the pressure. And I agree completely with Masha. Let's not fantasize about what comes next in Russia. Let's focus on what we're doing right now to help protect and defend the Ukrainian people's right to be a free, democratic nation and protect their sovereignty.
Let me talk about the energy and gas front a minute here. One of the easiest ways, perhaps, to relieve some of the pressure on, look, it's not just this country that's experiencing rising energy prices. It's all of Europe. It's really a lot of the world. If a country that we provide an extraordinary amount of defensive weaponry to, an extraordinary amount of support to, and I'm speaking of Saudi Arabia, who could essentially turn the dial tomorrow if they wanted to. We know this with OPEC nations. They're choosing to essentially be on the side of Putin on this one. Should there be some consequences to this in our relationship going forward?
Well, I'm disappointed by that decision because I think it's a very short-term one that is not in anybody's interest, including theirs. So I would certainly do whatever I could that was available to me to try to be more persuasive, if you will, and
Carrots
to talk about
sticks?
some consequences. But well, I think you have to do carrot and stick, Chuck. I mean, I think that we're in an existential crisis right now, and the only
existential crisis. This is what she said.
This horrific, unjustified, unprovoked assault on Ukraine, with the war crimes that are being committed on a daily basis by Putin's military, is that the world is now, I think, awake. Some are more awake than others, but everybody has to pay attention. The real challenge on the energy front is to do everything we can to help Europe wean itself off. You know, when I was Secretary of State, I started something called the U.S.
And let me stop it right here.
Council.
She going off the rails with when I was Secretary of State. My goodness gracious, brother. So we got the gist of mostly of what she's saying here. She wants the U.S. to double down on Russia. She wants the U.S. to enter more sanctions. She wants the U.S. to help out, the Ukrainian people a lot more. If it was up to her, she would have boots on the ground. If it was up to her. What do you think about this? Russia, she hates, it's almost like you can see the hatred she has for Russia. And, she's also not even telling the truth. Speaking about Ukraine to be a democracy and all this other stuff. What do you think?
Yeah, she's not telling the truth. Oh, let me give Lola, Texas, a shout out for her donation. Thank you very, very much, Lola, Texas. Love you. I appreciate it very much. Also, Chuck Todd, he's a liar. He continued to lie that Russia somehow helped Trump get elected. And, it's common knowledge that when Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State, remember that big red reset button she had that didn't work?
Oh, yeah.
She wanted to reset the relationship with Russia so she could win favor from them, so she could finance the Clinton Foundation. They got nothing. Of course, they ended up getting uranium one from her. She was looking for more and more ways to bring Russia under her orbit and her corruption. So no, she is a definite liar. Also, I do think that the Russia-Ukraine war is a distraction that the Democrats, of course, are using to distract from the horrible policies that are taking place in our own country.
Absolutely.
We have open borders, we have these high taxes, we have high gasoline prices, and the mainstream media, they convince sane Americans, patriotic Americans, to focus on another country. I don't like the fact that what's happening there, but we as Americans, we have our own problems and troubles here in America. Look at our country. I want people to take down the Ukrainian flags and fly Old Glory.
Yep.
Put up Old Glory. Let's fight for our country. Let's win our country back. Let's get Trump reelected. Let's get rid of Joe Biden. Let's impeach Joe Biden. Okay? Let's impeach Comey. Let's impeach all these characters that tried to steal our country. Let's get these January 6th, political prisoners out of jail. And so Hillary Clinton, she is that deep state operative. And now we have the fact that they're taking all kinds of money, billions of dollars. They just let go $300 million to Ukraine. No, that money should stay in America. Okay, but they aren't doing that. So I do feel as if Hillary Clinton, she is part of the problem. And one thing that I wish Donald Trump had done, and that was to keep his promise to lock her up. She should not be walking around free. He should have locked her up and kept that campaign promise.
Absolutely. Hillary Clinton is a master when it comes to liberalism. If you gave her a choice in the beginning of her political career, hey, would you want to be a Republican or a Democrat? She would always pick a Democrat because she could play victim everywhere she goes. Hey, you guys are saying this because you're sexist. She loves saying somebody's sexist when you don't agree with her. You know that, right? If she was a black woman, she would be hell, Anthony Allen. She'd be throwing up the race card and saying that you don't like her because she's sexist. She used this against Republican men. Republican men had a hard time dealing with Hillary Clinton because she always used the victim card. And then she had the liberal media right behind her, backing her up, right? See the way that that guy is speaking to me? Yeah, he wouldn't speak to a guy like that. I can't believe him. This is the way she is. She's pushing a line because she's trying to cover up the fact that, ladies and gentlemen, these people are using this Ukraine-Russia war for what I call wealth distribution.
Absolutely.
All you're seeing is we need to help them. We need to send aid. Right? That's all you hear. Millions of dollars, billions of dollars being flown out every which way you look. And let me tell you something. It's going into a lot of these people's pockets. In my personal opinion, a lot of this money going is a payoff because of what Putin's doing. You know, these people can't get any money once Russia occupies that country and takes over. So there needs to be a recoupment for people losing money. And please believe, when you look at the politicians, they were probably investing a whole bunch in Ukraine. Maybe in the biolabs, right? Creating new drugs, new quote unquote viruses, right? Maybe they were sending money over there, investing in the Ukrainian business, right? A whole bunch of people are losing money right now. How do they recoup that money? I know we're going to trick the American public, right? If I was Biden, I had my master a criminal family, crime family, Biden crime family. I'm making buku money a year from Ukraine, right? All the Luciferians on this side of heaven are making money in Ukraine. And then there's a guy over there that says, hell no, there's some stuff going over there. We need to stop it. He come over here and he start destroying everything that you guys have built, you evil politicians, right? How do you recoup that money back? These people are about money and power, ladies and gentlemen. They've sent millions of their own money that they stolen from you over there to invest so that they can get more money back. I know. You go and act as if you really care. We need, look at, they're bombing kiddie hotels. You know, the goats can't graze on the grass anymore, Anthony Allen. We need to say, we need to send money for seeds. You get what I'm saying? Look at this stupid woman, Kamala Harris. She was even speaking about, hey, they're bombing nurseries. My goodness gracious, ma'am, it's war. You know what I'm saying? They're bombing nurseries. We need to help. So all this thing is, to me, is a wealth distribution scam. I'm not one of these people who are easily fooled by emotion, and a lot of people can tell, right? I tell you to leave your emotions at the door, right? Because when you speak logically with folks, you don't get finessed. When you bring in the emotion, a lot of people get finessed, and they're somehow the logic ain't working well. Last words here, sir.
You are exactly right. This is wealth distribution. Money is being flown out of America on, these big cargo planes. Okay,
huge.
And some of that money is it's being used as a payoff. Like they're saying, you know what? Keep your mouth closed about Hunter Biden. Here's $1 billion. Here's $1 million. Just don't say anything. All this money going over there is part of the cover-up to keep the secrets of the Biden crime family. Okay, Biden is compromised and he needs everybody to shut up. So what does he do? He sends them money, and that money could be used here in America. It's not going to take $300 million to finish that wall, okay? But they're going to just send it all away. It's not going to take $300 million to help the veterans, to build our schools. Our streets need to be rebuilt. Our infrastructure is crumbling. All that trillions of dollars for infrastructure, what happened to all that money, okay? How come we're still, having to fight so hard for our Social Security, fight so hard for our finances, because they have stolen our money and they are continuously giving it to foreign countries like Ukraine. No, that war is between Russia and Ukraine. I feel sorry for them, but we have problems at home that we should be taking care of first.
Absolutely. And it's funny that you bring up fighting hard for our Social Security and things of this nature. Do you know that the government is thinking about pushing the age to 67 or even higher than that?
Yeah. These are people that have stolen Americans' wealth. Okay. And then they give it back to us a little at a time. They tax it, okay, for you. It's already been taxed. They tax it again, and they dole it out to you. And you can't give it, like when you die, you can't give it to someone else. You can't give it to your grandchildren or children. They just steal the rest of it when you're dead, okay? These are some very, very corrupt people, and we need to get our country back. And I believe that Donald Trump knows this, okay? If we had our Social Security accounts, we would be very, very wealthy people. But they have stolen that money from us, and they are giving it away to foreigners and illegal aliens daily.
Absolutely. I just put it up here. You spoke about it. Maybe you've read it. April 3rd, it just got released. Social Security retirement age is moving to 67. Some experts say that it could go even higher. So I want people to understand the reason why they're moving it higher and higher is because they're hoping you die. They're hoping you die before you even reach it. And what I've been saying for a very long time is that a lot of these entitlement programs are insolvent right now. They're even speaking about passing legislation to address the solvency issues. It's right here. I don't make this stuff up. And a lot of people aren't paying attention to this. It's right here, right? Choose to address program solvency issues. Lawmakers, they're trying to figure out how to address it because what they're doing right now, they're just printing fiat money. Yep. They're just printing money, ladies and gentlemen, so that so people can survive and still be able to eat. Causing our inflation to get higher and higher and devaluing the dollar. So I want people to understand all the stuff that they're doing, sending money overseas here, trying to help this and help that. People need to get out of their butts, right? Get out of their emotions. Use common sense. Use your brain. Wealth distribution. You can't get around it. Cannot. These people say that they're for protecting sovereignty and territory and borders. Look at what the hell is going on at our border. Look at our sovereignty. Why the hell are we sending billions of dollars, missiles, and troops to go secure somebody's border and sovereignty when ours is screwed the hell up? And when you speak to people, they're in a daze. I swear everybody high. They got to be high or drunk. Let's go ahead and move forward. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you share. Me speaking about devaluing the dollar, let me tell you something. You guys need to see this. The EU right now, they're talking about getting rid of the dollar, and they are going to get rid of the dollar standard. They're moving into some new Chinese currency standard that is digital. The Fed has already confirmed this with global IDs that they're going to be issuing out as well. Ain't that crazy? Let me go ahead and run this when it comes back. I want to speak about it. Here we go.
What underpins a world order is always the financial system. I was very privileged. My father was an advisor to Nixon when they came off the gold standard in '71, and so I was brought up with a kind of inside view of how very important the financial structure is to absolutely everything else. And what we're seeing in the world today, I think, is we are on the brink of a dramatic change where we are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one. And the new one, the new accounting, is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means having a almost perfect record of every single transaction that happens in the economy, which will give us far greater clarity over what's going on. It also raises huge dangers in terms of the balance of power between states and citizens. In my opinion, we're going to need a digital constitution of human rights if we're going to have digital money. But also, this new money will be sovereign in nature. Most people think that digital money is crypto and private. But what I see are superpowers introducing digital currency. The Chinese were the first. The US is on the brink, I think, of moving in the same direction. The Europeans have committed to that as well. And the question is, will that new system of digital money and digital accounting accommodate the competing needs of the citizens of all these locations so that every human being has a chance to have a better life? Because that's the only measure of whether a world order really serves.
There you go. They're very, very, very open about this new world order. Most people, aren't awake. These people are doing everything in plain sight, right in front of you, right? Just like black magic, right in front of you. It's incumbent on you to be aware of your awareness. Did you hear what I said? to be aware of your awareness, and that's something that's different. Anthony Allen, what do you think about this? Moving into digital currency, a new sovereign territory, she says. What do you think?
Oh yeah, we're in dire trouble, and this is by design. That's how I feel about this whole movement into digital currency. But this is the ultimate control that a government can have over people. One control is, of course, healthcare, someone's health. The other control is they have direct control over your money. They can turn it on and off. They can issue a social scorecard, and they can decide how much you can spend, where you can spend that money at. So they can do this thing now if they control it digitally. And also what makes it scary is not only can they, not only will you have money, but they can take money from your account also very easy. Suppose you are a conservative and you decide to buy a firearm and some ammunition. Well, that would be a no-no. So they can deduct, I don't know, $50 or $100 and say, you know what, because you purchase a firearm and some ammunition, we're going to take some money from you. Suppose you are a great Christian person and you frequent a church. They say, you know what, because you're going to church and that means you are a bigot in some way or fashion, guess what, we can take some money from your account now because you have decided to go to a church. Or suppose they have this mandate that everyone has to attend a trans workshop and you don't go. Guess what? They can take money from your account. So this is the ultimate control now, and this is the new world government. This woman speaks about, everyone will have a chance. No, everyone will not have a chance. This, once again, is a way to control the population. And so these people like Joe Biden, a weak person, a weak president, he is the one that has started this, because Trump would never have allowed this to go to this level. But Joe Biden, because of his incompetency, because of his weakness when it comes to Russia and when it comes to China, Joe Biden started this whole transition, and that's why they are able to do it in our faces in plain sight, because America is weak with Joe Biden at the helm.
Absolutely. You're absolutely correct. And this World Economic Forum also predicts that there will be a cyber attack, Anthony Allen. And this cyber attack will knock out electricity. And in my personal opinion, this is the same World Economic Forum and the same type of folks, Dr. Zelenko, Klaus Schwab, Bill Gates, the rest of these fools here. They're the ones who, quote unquote, predicted in 2019, the whole scamdemic. Actually, it was in 2017. So these people here are orchestrating what they call a great reset, right? This has been a term that has been pushed around for a little bit. A lot of people are now picking up this term, the great reset. You can even hear it in a lot of these newscasts nowadays, right? See, MSNBC uses great reset. Fox has been introducing the great reset. So this terminology, this type of new term that has been pushed into the English lexicon right now is really, really pushing a narrative that people really need to, succumb to what's going on, because there's no way to get around it. They say that there's a new way of living. You hear this all the time, right? We will never go back to the old. So what they're doing is they're dropping hints here and there to let you know that there's something coming. And when these people say that there's a cyber attack, Anthony Allen, to me, that's something serious, because all you need is a few days without power, and you will see hell and destruction on this side of heaven, Anthony Allen. You will see people robbing, stealing, and killing. I'm not playing. Robbing, steal. Your neighbor that you had had some problems with, third day, they looking in your house trying to kill you so that they could take your stuff. That's the way the world will be once something like that hits. And this is what they're predicting. And I want folks to understand, you can see the food shortages coming, right? Food shortages coming, gas going up. A lot of stuff is crazy right now. All they need is a cyber attack to really shift this in. And this is what they said, Anthony Allen. I don't make this stuff up. You know it. They need a cyber attack so that they can bring in this new digital currency, this new way of living. And let me tell you something. All the hard work people have done, Anthony, and imagine you do whole bunch of hard work, EMP, something hit, a cyber attack, wipe up everything, right? You can't even go to the bank and claim that you had any money there. Think about it. Everything's digital now, Anthony Allen.
Yes.
Right? A cyber attack happens, you have no cashola. You go to the bank, there's big guards there with AKs. Right? You say, hey, I got $100,000 in the bank. I worked hard all my life. They tell you, F you, go home. We don't know you. What, Anthony, you know what I'm talking about? That is real hell. Last words.
Yeah, that is real hell. And this idea that people want these electric cars, if we have a cyber attack, you can't plug into anything. Okay, there will be no reserve fuel unless you keep and hide your gasoline car, and cyber attacks are real. I watch them all the time. I understand how they work. I've seen them happen. I've experienced them myself. And the American, colleges and universities, they are teaching wokeness. But these people, these students in China and Japan and North Korea and Russia, they are teaching wokeness to their students. They're teaching them how to attack, how to use software, how to use the apps as a weapon. And they're very, very good at this thing too. So these cyber attacks are real. They happen much more frequently than we really do expect. And that's just like the cyber attack that happened on the Colonial Pipeline. They had to pay millions of dollars of ransom to release it.
There you go.
This happens all the time.
Nobody speaks about it too, Anthony Allen.
Nobody speaks about this. Yeah.
Thousands of American companies have been hit with ransomware attacks.
Absolutely.
So FBI, they can't even help ya. The FBI tell you pay whatever they're asking.
That's it.
I want you to understand, once they hit you with a cyber attack, some ransomware, nobody can help you except for your own cashola. Whatever they want, you're going to give it or they have it.
That's right.
So just imagine a cyber attack where they hit all the banks. You don't know how much money you can even pull out. You can't even go to the bank and pull no money out. You will see people robbing the banks. You will see folks doing crazy stuff when they cannot get any money to feed their children. I want people to understand, especially if you're not prepared. That's why a lot of these Patriot companies are popping up with survival gear, survival food, and things of this nature. Because once something like this hits, a lot of people only have, on average, food for 2 or 3 days. After that, what are you going to do? You're going to be out there looking to steal and rob. Yes, you are. Trust me. And Jermaine, I will never steal, right? People say this all the time until there's a crisis like this, Anthony Allen. And it's been documented plenty of times. They've done research on it. People, I'll never steal, I'll never kill. When that stuff happens, never will turn to a gosh darn it probably.
Right.
Moving forward, hit that like button. Make sure you do share, ladies and
Let
gentlemen.
me give
Make
a
sure
shout
you
out
do
to Sharon Glover.
Go ahead.
She made a generous donation. Thank you very much, Miss Glover. I appreciate that very much.
Absolutely. I want to go ahead and give a shout out to Miss Sharon Glover. Beautiful Miss Sharon Glover. Absolutely. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you do share. Last but not least, Anthony Allen, we're going to speak about immigration. A broken immigration system. It's absolutely broken. This is what Secretary Mayorkas is saying. He's saying that 7,000 illegal aliens are crossing the border a day. I mean, that's heart attack numbers. I want to go ahead and run this when it come back. I want to speak about it. How the hell did we get out of this mess? Here we go.
President Biden now rolling back a Trump-era pandemic policy that effectively blocked migrants from entering the United States. CNN's Priscilla Alvarez joins us now from Del Rio, Texas, near the U.S.-Mexico border. Priscilla, break it down.
John, this is a significant moment as the country.
Actually, hold on. Let me bring it up here.
And as a decision, COVID-19.
My bad. Here we go.
Democratic divide in an election year.
Here to discuss the implications of this decision is the U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Secretary Mayorkas, thanks for joining us. So just to get our viewers up to speed, President Trump, at the time he was president, he invoked a public health authority known as Title 42. He did this at the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic, supposedly to prevent migrants from bringing COVID-19 into the U.S., although people criticize the president for just using this as a way to keep undocumented immigrants out of the country. The pandemic's not over. What do you think about the CDC making this decision? And won't this decision, isn't it basically taking a problem and throwing it into DHS's lap? You're going to have a whole new surge of tens, if not hundreds of thousands of undocumented immigrants.
Jake, there's something very important that the listeners should understand, and that is that Title 42, as it is known, is a public health authority. It is not an immigration policy. And as a public health authority, it is exercised by the CDC depending upon the arc of the pandemic. And the CDC, in its expertise, we are not public health experts, in its public health expertise, decided that the use of Title 42 should come to an end when we, in the Department of Homeland Security, have ramped up our public health protocols sufficient to address migration at the southern border. We have to be mindful of the fact that these are individuals who will enter congregant settings, closed settings, at the Border Patrol stations. And that is why I believe the Centers for Disease Control identified May 23rd as the date on which the Title 42 authority will no longer be exercised.
And how many migrants
because the arc of the pandemic...
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. The arc of the pandemic no longer requires it when we have ramped up our public health protocols. And we've been working on those for quite some time. We administer vaccines to migrants in our detention facilities. We've been doing so for months. We've equipped nonprofit organizations that work with us in communities to administer vaccines. And this past Monday, we have begun to administer vaccines at the Border Patrol stations. We will increase our capacity, our capability to do that. And by May 23rd, we will be in a position to ensure the end of Title 42.
How many migrants are you expecting at the border?
So our responsibility is to plan, to prepare for different eventualities, for different possibilities, and then to execute according to the possibilities that are actually realized. And that is precisely what we are doing, and we've been doing for several months.
What's the situation at the border right now? How many undocumented immigrants are crossing the border?
So we are seeing approximately 7,000 individuals, but I should say
a day.
The disposition, yes, and the disposition that we administer depends on the profile of the individual and how the law provides for them to be addressed. For example, we are expelling under the Title 42 authority that we are now exercising, and we will continue to exercise until May 23rd, over 50% of them. The balance of them are placed into immigration enforcement proceedings, into removal proceedings, and they are then able to make a claim for relief as the law provides. If they prevail in their claim, then they have established a basis to remain here. If they do not, then they are removed.
Republican Senator Mitt Romney of Utah said today, quote, "Worst domestic news today, the Biden administration will admit double or more the number of undocumented immigrants at the border starting May 28th. It's actually May 23rd, but be that as it may." He went on to say, "Best GOP political news today, the same as above. Arizona, Nevada, and more Democratic senators will lose their elections." What's your reaction?
I don't look at it through a political lens, Jake. The CDC has made a determination that we are advanced in our fight against the pandemic to permit the use of Title 42 to end on May 23rd. We're planning and preparing accordingly. We are a nation of immigrants and a nation of laws. When an individual makes a claim for relief in a post-Title 42 environment, when they make a claim for relief as our laws provide, if that claim succeeds, they have established a basis to stay here. If that claim does not, they will be removed. And, you know, we very well know that the smuggling organizations manipulate the news and provide disinformation. And allow me to be explicitly clear, and I can't say this too often. If one's claim for relief does not succeed, one will be removed from the United States. And what I would say to Senator Romney and to all of the senators and all of the members of the House is that we are working with a broken immigration system. And the fundamental relief that is needed is immigration reform.
Ridiculous. There you go. So, Anthony Allen, Secretary Mayorkas had a lot to say here, a lot of tap dancing. It seemed like everybody on the Biden administration, they have very high voices, and they're also all betas. All the guys there are betas, extreme betas. Secretary Mayorkas, you could tell he's a beta, and he got a little sugar, somewhere. Sugar stashed somewhere with Mr. Mayorkas. But besides that, he is saying 7,000 are crossing that gosh darn border a day. Anthony Allen, he says that if, Title 42 go, it jump up almost twice as much. That's insane. What do you think?
Yeah, he's lying. It's not 7,000. It's probably 14,000, maybe even 21,000. I don't believe anything these people say. They are going to try to depress the numbers to make it seem like it's not as bad as it is. He's not answering any other question. How many people? He makes it up as he goes. Who believes that number? Not any sane person.
Nope.
Also, Mayorkas says something that I always challenge. He says that we, America, we are a nation of immigrants. That's a lie.
Yep.
America is not a nation of immigrants. America is a nation of citizens.
There you go.
And that needs to be driven home constantly. This whole idea that anyone falls over the border and they're just, in like Flint.
Yep.
No, we are a nation of citizens, not of immigrants. You have to be a citizen. Okay. So we are in what I call the browning of America. And the browning of America is the fact that they are making sure that America is brown or black because they want the white to be in a minority. They are racist, and that's why they don't really bring people in from Europe anymore. They bring the poor third world people that are really illiterate in their own culture and their own language.
Yep.
They bring them to our country, and then we give them welfare. We even have this thing now that New Yorkers is doing where we're giving them, COVID-19 vaccinations.
Yep.
This infrastructure down there at the border, if you look at all the swings, all the facilities, those facilities are better than our own citizens have, okay? In the inner city and anywhere else, those facilities on the border are better than the citizens of America have. And this needs to be stopped immediately. Hopefully, we can get rid soon. We'll be getting rid of Joe Biden. But we have to turn this thing around to put America first, to put our citizens first. And this is not taking place as long as you have this fake Biden administration there. They will always put other people before the American citizen.
Absolutely. It is crazy to me. And that's the way liberals are. Liberals have a fondness. They romanticize, in a sense, over immigrants in this country. They put immigrants on a pedestal. When they speak about immigrants, it's almost as if like the immigrants are Jesus, like they're an angel, Anthony Allen.
Yeah.
The immigrant works so hard. The immigrant does this. The immigrant does that. It's almost, it gets to a point where it's sickening. You get what I'm saying? And they're not even telling the truth about a lot of the stuff here. Right. We should be uplifting our citizens, not uplifting, immigrants or illegal aliens and trying to, make a case for them. This is outrageous. The reason why they do this, Anthony Allen, is because they're trying to bring these people in and replace Americans. The American that is smart, they want a dumb person. They want workers. And when you bring immigrants in here, it's almost like you're bringing in a slave labor, because these people will work for low cost. They tend to work in factories, right? I want Americans to wake up, right? Work all day in a factory doing the same thing over and over, doing something monotonous and boring, right? If you go overseas, you go and look at the Chinese, you look at a lot of these African industries, these people are doing the same thing over and over with their hands like this, hours and hours a day, hardly any breaks. They want those type of folks, low income, low socioeconomic status, low IQ. They love those folks. Bring them in. Sap more money from a hardworking American, right? Yeah, while you're working very hard, right? Mahmoud and Shiva and their 10 children got a stipend of $4,000 a month and a brand new car by the American tax citizen. Absolutely. And everywhere they go, they having everything paid for them, right? Food stamps. They go to a school. They have aid to help them in the school. So we have to start looking out for ourselves. There's no reason why we can't do that, and we should not feel ashamed. Last words here, sir.
Yes. We should not feel ashamed. This is our country. It's called America. And if you want to come to our country, then they should have the same values. The very idea that people can come to our country and not assimilate into our culture. They want to remain separate. And then they come here and they don't come to be an American. They come from they come for the benefits. They get paid. It's economics. Say, you know what? I could stay in this country and get paid a nickel a day, or I can go to America and get paid $15 an hour. Okay, and that's what they're doing. And then our government tells American citizens that we are supposed to elevate them. They are coming, taking our jobs. We have students, we have people that need those jobs, and they are giving them to the illegal aliens. Okay, and like you said, Jermaine BOTSIO, everything is paid for. They can just fall over the border and they get free housing, they get a stipend, they get to bring their family over, and the American that has been here all of our lives, we have to work harder to pay for them being here for free. It is outrageous, and that's what Democrats want. Democrats hate this country, they hate the American, and they want this country to go communist or socialist. They are just Marxists, and we have got to stand up to this, Jermaine BOTSIO.
Absolutely, and I love your idea. We need to have a moratorium on immigration for probably 15, 20 years.
Yes.
You know, it probably even longer than that. You know what I'm saying? And we let folks in by merit. You have to sustain yourself. I mean, it'll be a hard task. Just like back in the day, you weren't just ushered in here. People waited 10, 15 years, Anthony Allen, to enter this country. So, you know, we have made it really easy, in a sense, for people to hop across the border and reap our benefits that we have created in our society for ourselves. It's a bad deal. Anthony Allen, excuse me, buddy, pal, let me tell you, we are done. We are done. That is the end of the show. I want to thank you so much for coming on in here, hanging out with me. Really do appreciate it. I know the crowd does too. Any last words for our beautiful crowd before we depart here, sir?
Oh yeah. This crowd is so beautiful. And, you know, like my last words have to do with stay positive, stay focused. Don't buy into the distractions with Russia, Ukraine. You know, like you said earlier, be aware of your awareness about what's taking place in our country. And we have got to stick together as Americans, as conservatives, as patriotic people, as Republicans. We have got to stick together. Stay together, guys. Stay together.
Absolutely. We have to stay together. And we have to call out these liberals for pushing out this propaganda. Stop being afraid of people getting mad, upset. People are too into their emotions nowadays. The stronger you are in your resolve, the stronger you are as a person. I want people to understand that, especially emotionally. There's people out there who cannot have conversations because their emotions get too flustered. There's people out there, ladies and gentlemen, who cannot do certain actions in their own life because their own emotions won't allow them to do it. Do you understand? There's people who are holding you hostage in your own life, a lot of people, because you cannot control your own emotions and they can't either, right? There's people out there who have a hard time saying no, right? And it's causing problems in your life. I know, right? It's hard for you to say no because you have a weakness inside of you. It's called your emotion. You haven't learned how to manage it well. There's a whole bunch of people who are like that. I have a cousin out there who has a hard time of saying no, gets easily taken advantage of. So you have to be able to remain strong in your resolve. And when you're strong, you become a stronger person. Anthony Allen, once more again, thank you so much, sir, for coming on in here. ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you so much for hanging out with us. I would also like to thank everybody who donated and hit that like button as well. We really, really do appreciate it, especially the people who have found it in their heart to donate to the program. I want to let you know we use everything towards the program to help with the lights, the beautiful camera. Look how clear the camera look. It's because of y'all, right? All the actions, right? Yeah. Everything is because of you guys. So I really do want to appreciate everybody who has donated, who has hit that like button, and who has shared from the bottom of my heart. I'm sure Anthony Allen feels the same way.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you guys take care. Have a very, very good night, and I'll catch you guys here later tomorrow with another edition of Conservative Nation. Have a good night.
CB on the beat. I said easy.